Hi. Let me make sure I'm recording here. Yes. This is my little video for double jump. I thought I would include the explanation of the wall jump as well while we're here. So, oh, I know Zuzu. So, what we've got here is I've got my grounded bool and the jump that goes to a branch. It's asking if I can do the air jump. If I can, it will let me jump. If I can, it will let me jump again. Yes. If I can't, it then checks to see. Let's see, what is this? Oh, this is the wall jump. So hold on a second. I need to rethink this for a second. Oh, I see. So this is the first thing it does. It checks to see if I'm touching the ground, and if I am, it gives me the Boolean check on. It sets the variable to jump in the air, and then it does the jump. And the jump is just my jump force, vector 3, and that's force, impulse force. The wall jump is a little bit more complicated. The way that this thing works is, after it sees that I'm not on the ground, it then checks to see if I'm touching a wall. And the first thing it does is check to see if I'm touching the left wall, or I'm touching the wall on the left side. And if I am, then it has to do two things. The first thing it does is it adds the force for the jump, which, so that you can get vertical distance when you jump. But the problem with wall jumping is, right now, the movement controller is based on, the velocity is set based on whether or not you're pushing the left or right buttons for X and Y, for the X axis. And if you do that, and you just add the force to go to the left based on if you're touching the left wall, you add force to go to the right, and if you're touching the right wall, it adds force to go to the left. What will happen is it doesn't even move you. It just teleports you over the amount of force that the impulse is supposed to be, and then it stops you in midair, or it moves you backwards because you're still holding to press the left wall. So that doesn't work. That doesn't work for us. So what will happen instead is it sets a bool variable for wall jumping on, and when it does that, it stops my update on movement from setting the velocity itself. So while I'm doing a wall jump, and I have two things set up to make it so that it will let me regain control of the movement. But for the first half a second, after I let go of the jump button, I don't have control with the A and D or the arrow keys. It will just take control of the velocity here instead by the movement sideways and I have it set to my max speed for my sprint. So, in other words, just for that half a second, I'll be going maximum speed in the other direction from where the wall is, and it will still get the velocity of my y-axis to create this vector. So it doesn't just shut down my vertical movement either. And that will happen until I let go of the jump key, and then it will do a half a second on the timer. And when it completes, it will set the wall jumping thing to off, which will reset this movement update thing to being true. So let me see if I can show what this looks like. It's obviously not going to all fit on the screen, but just for the sake of explaining what's going on here, everything is moving in. It says the wall jumping is false. If this is set to true, then the branch will stop moving here, and it will allow me to take control here. So let me see if I can even show very much of the graph while I do this. Let's see. Here's my movement. I have a slow walk speed, and then I have a thing that you hold down shift and you run a little bit faster. And I can show you that graph too if you want to. But what it will do is, as long as I'm holding shift, it will slowly increase my movement speed right here from... hold on. It'll increase it from 3 or -3, slowly increase it up to 6. And then if I stop and change direction, it will reset my increase in speed. So if I jump at a wall, and then I hit jump, it will do a little wall jump. For a half a second, it will take control. Now, if I hold down the jump button while I'm doing it, it will do a full arc and keep me moving in that direction until I let off the key, which is fine because most people aren't going to do that sort of thing. They have to release the button to jump anyways, and once they let go of the button and you're no longer getting velocity off of the wall jump and you get control again with your arrow keys, you'll be hopefully pressing that button anyways. So it feels quite natural because you have half a second to switch gears, which is pretty cool. It might not feel exactly right because if you're doing a wall jump and you let go of everything, it will stop you from moving after a certain point. Or if you hold the jump button down and don't touch anything else, it will keep you moving along the ground in that direction until you let go. Obviously that's a little bit weird. We can also set it so that the variable is set to false if I'm grounded instead. That might be an inclusive thing. But in order for it to check both things here, what has to happen is first it checks the left wall and it does all of that. Then it checks the right wall and does all of that again. And the reason we don't have it set up differently, or I guess I should say the reason I'm not using a bunch of the same stuff is because it has to give a different amount of force to the one direction or the other based on whether or not it's the one side or the other side. And probably that could be made a lot clearer as well. We could just have a bool for is it left? No, it's not. Well, then don't include this -1 on the float, and it could just be one brick instead of two big bricks. And then on top of all that stuff, if it decides that I'm not in the air, or I'm not on the ground, and I'm not touching a wall, then it will ask, well, do you have this can air jump bool true? Which it resets to true if I jump in the air, and I try to press it twice, it will set it to false. So I can only do one jump in the air. And of course, because the force is being added, you get a much higher jump if you go tap, tap at the top of the arc than you would get if you were dropping. So maybe one thing that you could do is set the velocity of your Y to be 0 on the second jump. And then you wouldn't have this sort of disparity of, is it really high jump? Is it a really low jump? That sort of thing. So maybe I'll integrate that into it. But so far, that's what we've got. We've got a sprint, we've got a nice double jump, and then we have these sort of wall jumps that are useful for, I guess I can get up this thing pretty easily, but I think this spot right here, even if I jump like that, if I don't hit the wall, I could jump up it. But it's much more interesting to see the guy go okay, here we go, jump. Now jump off the wall. Oh, I missed. Okay, jump off the wall. Oh, it's hard. And I can keep jumping off the wall indefinitely. Sort of Mega Man style. If it's sliding, it would have a little thing there. Oh, hold on a second. I just want to make sure that the Discord doesn't suddenly just appear in front of me. But anyways, that's it. That's what I've got so far. And I actually posted the whole chart in Discord so that you can get a closer look at it. But there was, to get wall jumping working, I had to play around with the movement as well. And this is extremely convoluted, and it could probably be less convoluted. For instance, you don't have to have a jump force here, a jump force here, a jump force, whatever, down here. You could just have one node and connect them to all of those things. But then it would just be a tangled mess, and it would be kind of harder to see what was going on. So I thought I'd leave it like this to explain it. And then I thought I would put this video up to try to, at least demonstrate that even though it looks like I was, not doing anything all weekend, that I actually did quite a bit here. And then, by the way, this is my little gravity adjustment thing, because I don't like it to be floaty. And it's not, this could probably be set up to a create vector 3 and then a variable so I can adjust it over here. But just for the sake of testing stuff, I wanted to just be able to quickly set it. So there's my little gravity adjuster. Anyways, that's where I'm at so far in Bolt. I don't know if anybody in the future is ever going to find this video online and be like, I wonder how I did that. But that's where it is. So, anyways, I hope that was informative as well as assignment fulfilling. And I turned off my prototype wall climb because it's really, really gnarly. Anyways, yeah, this is a really convoluted character controller. There's definitely a way to clean this up. Maybe I'll do that later. Anyways, yeah, I hope you enjoyed.